Sawtooth Dave, what's happening, guys? Finally back, finally doing another video. So obviously, Blade Show was last weekend. I didn't do the video last weekend because other shit was going on. Obviously, I think everybody understands that. Let me turn this thing down a little bit here. Sorry about seeing my palm there. Yeah, it's a little better. All right, where's my socks? You want to say hey for the camera? All right. You know she got to be in every video. All right, so we'll get. I'm gonna probably be a long-winded video, so if you want to see the quick, dirty, and the hurry of what I got a DSK, I got a XL, and I got a Zilla. That's a quick version. I'm gonna get into the stories now. So if you want to care about what I got, now you know. You can go on. All right, or whatever, jump out whenever you want to. I'm gonna go in detail and show you the things a little more as I bullshit. So what I carried when I went there. Well, first of all, flew out to Blade Show this year. It just didn't, time-wise, didn't have enough time to do it. And my dad had just gone through a surgery. And then prior to me getting there, he had gone to PT, was leaving PT, and got T-bone and was kind of beat up. So I kind of wanted to get there to take care of him a little bit. So I showed up late to the show on Friday doing family stuff. So I got there Thursday, hung out with Pop, took him to PT Friday morning. Had fun with the old man hanging out. It was just me and him. Don't get those opportunities as much, especially living across the country and stuff. We'd like to get together more, but you know how it is. Like, you can only do what you can do. Anyway, so I'm going to try to keep this focused around the nice, but I'm going to still incorporate the whole weekend thing. So you know how it goes. So I carried this Sawtooth, and I had the, what do you call it, Project X with me. Mainly because I made the scales and the backspacer on these, and I know some people wanted to check them out. So my dad lives about like an hour and 15, 30, something like that, depending on traffic, south of where the show is. So I mailed all that stuff. I mailed all my clothes, everything, so I could just get on the plane and go. Ended up taking a helmet, which ended up being in a bag anyhow, but it was just carry on, so it wasn't that big a deal. But anyhow, I just wanted to show them off, so I got to show those to quite a few people. Let them kind of see what I can do personally. I don't know why I did that. I just did. I don't know. It just kind of felt like a cool thing to do. The whole time I was there, I was wishing I had the Rogovitz Rhino. It's just one that, like, this one right here, even with the new purchases, like as soon as I came home, this is the one I wanted to grab. And my buddy Jose just snagged him one. Actually got two Rogovitz, but he just got a Rhino yesterday, so congrats to Jose on that one. Anyhow, taking it through the process of what I got and where and stuff like that. So the DSK was actually a buddy of mine that I've bought several DSKs from before. This is, I think they call it a slipner. And this was on my to get list from Dan. I had never seen one in person, and I bought this one sight unseen. Basically, like, he just showed me a picture, said it's for sale because I'm going to the show. Basically, at least I assume that's what he meant. So I just bought it. So, do I like it? Yeah, I kind of wanted this dimple one because the other GF2 that I had ended up going to Steve Clare. And I just wanted this style finish from a DSK in the collection again. And this is one of the models that I was kind of interested in checking out anyhow. So it was a little bit of a surprise. So if you're familiar with DSKs, like thickness wise, so here's a kickstand. This is pretty much standard kickstand. The 3/16 blade thickness and decent. I think it's 3/16 tie as well. So Dan seems to be doing some thinner knives lately, and I didn't know. Just being to see it, you can see the thinness there. It's not tremendously different, but it is different. So this feels just slightly smaller than the tier if you ever had your hands on a tier width wise here. But it's a longer knife, so kind of sort of more on a normalish long side rather than the overbuilt size from Dan. So it's not something I dislike. It's just something I got to get used to from the maker, because I'm used to Dan's all stuff, his being beefy, and even if he goes anything, he gets beefier, like the Megalodon. He builds really, really huge stuff, but now I guess he's kind of making stuff for the normal people too, or more normal people, I guess. So my thoughts on this one is, like, it's good action, everything like that. It's just not what I expected from the maker, I guess. So I'll do like a more close up, more of a in detail as I've had it for a while. But like this one, the Javelina, and that one I traded to Carco, which I think was the Atreyu, but it could have been something else. I can't remember now. all three of those were kind of like the thinner DSKs, like the stock thicknesses wise, but still fairly decently, thick blades, thick stock. So it's not that I could dislike them. It's just not what I expected from the maker. So it's just me mentally getting over that hurdle. Yeah, I'll go into more detail later. Okay. So y'all know I like the Zermanos. Like I got this one from Doug a while back. The Harpoon. He had some of these there as well. And the regular tier, which I've modified this one a little bit. So this is my tier. Um, but when I got to Zermano, and it was kind of weird because he was kind of like an L-shaped table, and someone on this side had a different. He was sharing a booth with somebody. Someone on this side had a different, like I call it flag, but whatever you table garment, whatever you want to call it, that's hanging on that side to advertise who it was. And his was on this side, so I actually walked past the booth a couple times before I realized he was there. I saw him personally, and I was like, "Oh, it's Will Zermano sitting right there." Anyhow, as soon as I went over there, told him who I was. He knew exactly who I was after that. I told him, I saw you, Dave, and he was like, "Yeah, this is the one for you," and pretty much picked it up and said, "Yeah, 3 people came by and said this one's for you." And Steve Clare, yep, you called it. I got the XL. Um, so it's ridiculously huge. It is. It is. If ridiculous was a style, this is it, right? No doubt about it. And it's also 100% what I like too. I like big overbuilt. So now that I have the XL, the regular tier, which is in all rights full size knife, feels small to me now. There are things I like and dislike about this one as well. So if we're just going to talk like briefly what I've noticed so far, and I haven't had a ton of time. I haven't really done a whole lot of cutting or anything with it. And to be honest with you, when I got this, I was already thinking I'm probably going to do mods to it. 100% being honest. So the biggest thing that I thought was kind of strange to be such a huge knife is the dimensions are exactly the same as the tier. Like it's the same tie thickness, it's the same blade thickness. It looks like the stop pin, the hardware, all that stuff's the same. He didn't size that up, which I kind of thought was odd. Kind of a little bit on the odd side. But you still get the great action. It's just got so much inertia on it now. It's just ridiculous. And this one did come way better edged than the other ones that I've got from him. So he's working on the edge. But see if you can see it better. I keep trying to remember what side it's on better. Yeah, you can see it better on this side. So if you look at the edge right about in there, you can see like a little divot. So right here in the grind, the primary grind, you can feel like a little dip right here. So I don't know what he did to do that. Like if he's milling it with an end mill, or I don't know, whatever it is, it's definitely a dip there, and it's definitely a round dip. So I don't think it comes from like a belt sander doing it that way. So I don't know how it's done. I don't know how he machines these. So I'm not here to tell you how I know anything how he does it, but it's just something I noticed. Also, I'm gonna open this up so you can see it a little easier. Hopefully not cutting myself on this top swedge. You see how it goes thick, thin, thick. Hopefully that shows up. So that's just the two grind notices that I've seen out of the blade itself. All these seem to come with like a little bit of a lock stick. Almost all the Zermanos I've had, and you just kind of got to work through it. And this one's almost through it, but it's still there. The all the hardware, deep carry clip, all that stuff, still American Knife Supply stuff. Not my favorite choices on any of those. And I do plan on making both these are the same, but I have the other one too. I'm going to try to do some kind of pocket clip modifications. I did this one. This was just a Rich Garage Tech that did that PM2 clip to this one because it kind of sort of went and actually functions perfectly on this one. So I'll probably going to do something with that. We're just using the stock size or stock pattern, the 3-hole pattern he's got here, and probably make and offer something in the future. I know Rick had already asked. Rick got one of the other Zermanos from me, and he had asked a while back if I'd do some pocket clip stuff, and I told him, get with Zermano first and see if he's got anything offered. But I've seen 3 different styles of his so far, maybe 4 different styles of his so far, and none of them are really what I like in a pocket clip. So I probably will do something with that. And my initial thoughts as far as like right now today, and actually kind of when I bought it, is probably putting an onlay on it. Kind of sound like the 31s, like put that overlay kind of on top. I'm kind of sort of thinking about doing that with this one, just to give it a little more meat, because when you hold it, it's thin feeling. It's not horrible, but it's just thin feeling. So I may or may not do something with that. But before I do anything with that one, I'm sending that one to Jose to check out because he was interested in getting the XL, and we had talked about it already. So I'm gonna make sure that one gets to him for him to check out. Obviously at the show, like you see so much stuff that you get numb to so many cool things there. So Friday I went. People are supposed to be with me every day. One of my brothers that lives locally on the north side of Atlanta was supposed to be with me on Friday. He couldn't make it. My other brother was supposed to come from Huntsville on Saturday, and he got held up with some family stuff, and he couldn't make it till Sunday. And then my other brother, but my friend, not really my brother, not my blood brother. My buddy Sean couldn't make it either. He had ended up getting work, so like I went to the show both days by myself. Um, Friday was awesome. Got to hook up with some people I knew, hang out, and meet new people, and it was just it's always cool to get to hang out with people that you only see their names and get to shake hands and all that stuff. And that whole experience all weekend, like I met so many cool people, and I'm not even gonna start naming names, but like to it's just fun. It's fun to hang out, but face to face communication versus just online text kind of stuff. Some stuff gets lost in translation that way, and you get to know people on a more personable level. Obviously, when you're in person, right? Personable. Anyhow, the people in the Blade Show was great this year, like super awesome. Um, Believe it or not, when I went there Saturday, like I got there Saturday morning, I got there, I'm gonna guess around 10:30 or so on Saturday morning. So like the major rush for like going in and trying to find something is kind of over with. And I've heard some people that were talking about Blade shows thought that Saturday was busier. I thought Friday was way busier than Saturday personally, but it depends on what you're doing with the day, right? So I was trying to be more social on Friday, even though Saturday ended up being probably more social. But when I got there anyway, I walked through the whole place. From a bruiser point of view, like people that are really into the big heavy duty like DSKs and like even the bigger Zermanos and stuff like that, there was only so much stuff there. It was very limited. Miller Brothers was sold out. I think Nate showed me he got one of the micros or minis or whatever those called. And I think that Miller Brothers only brought two of those, so he snagged one of them. That was way before. I don't think I'd even get into this. I don't think I was even in the show yet, and he showed me that one. So that was so cool to get to check it out. If you don't know Miller Brothers, you should really check them out. But they're all sold out. Like they sold out like as soon as the show opened. Pretty much all their folders sold out, and there were some of them were ridiculous money. Like the dude was showing me pictures, and one of them was like $6,000 or something. So like they just gone. So that's just more money than I'm spending on a knife right now, especially something like that. Like I dig it, it's cool style wise, but it's not worth multiple $1,000s to me to spend at this point. Just everybody's got their own limits. So what else about? Oh, so yeah, I was starting to tell you. When I got there Saturday, I was there for about an hour. I kind of walked through, and I was kind of making sure that I didn't miss anything. A lot of times when you walk through the show, there's so much to see. You kind of walk by a booth quicker because maybe there's more people out there, and you just kind of want to see everything quickly, and then kind of mentally figure out what you want to go back and see and fine tune. So Friday, I just kind of went through the whole event. Sean wanted something. I bought Sean something. See, what else did I get Friday? I'm trying to think. Oh, that Zermano. I got that Zermano Friday. That Tier XL. I think that's all I got Friday. McNeese was sold out. Like all his stuff was gone. A lot of people were talking about new Medfords and stuff like that. By the time I got over, all that was all gone. Like there was nothing there. And quite honestly, like if you went to Blade Show years ago and what Medford used to do for the Blade Show versus what they do now it just sucks. It's got they got like a L-shaped cabinet, glass cabinet, like you'd go into like a jeweler store or something, or I don't know, pawn shop or something. It's just lackluster. Like it used to be an event for Medford. They have couches. It was like a hangout. They'd have cool displays. It's not like that at all anymore. It's kind of boring, and quite honestly, I wasn't interested in anything they had there. Everything was the carved and just stuff I'm not interested from Medford. I like the more simple stuff, especially from him, because it's not like he's doing it. Somebody else in the shop's doing it. It was different when Medford himself would do some of these things. Then you kind of add a little value there. But like this is all just, I don't know, wasn't my thing. Who else? All the major players, it's pretty much the same old, same old. If you've been to a Blade Show, seen it once, you've seen it again. Like they're really, I mean, they might have brought a new model, but it's pretty much the same thing. Like there's nothing that was drawing me to the bigger booth, so I pretty much stayed to most of the custom makers and the smaller guys for the most part. But for the bruiser standpoint, just like it was last year, there wasn't a whole lot offered there. So last year, I got the Old Dominion Super Cobra. I got this one there last year. And he was pretty much the only one holding on the fort as far as like everything he made custom was all big bruiser. Miller Brothers too, but Miller Brothers focusing on fixed blades more than folders. But even talking with him the few times I did, it's like he wasn't getting a whole lot of traffic. he looked pretty well like this might be his last blade show, which kind of sucks because the dude put something on Facebook. It goes quick, you know. So that led me to, uh, you know, kind of thinking about it, like, what's the next step? Like, you know, is this like a dying breed? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Just for me, it just was a thought provoking because, like, you walk around and there's so many epic fixed blade makers there. It's just ridiculous, but nobody's paying attention. Everybody's walking right past them because they're everywhere, and most people aren't into that style of fixed blade these days. I'm saying there's still plenty of collectors that are into that style, but like as a whole, like by far the biggest gathering of blade show was seen to be the Chinese OEM'd or Chinese manufactured smaller knives. Like that's just what was there and what most people seem to be into with the, you know, the thing of the day or fad of the day or whatever you want to call it, the current trend of the industry. So it was interesting to me thinking about that. Like, obviously, if I ever get into knife making, I'm going to make big, heavy bruiser stuff. But is Blade Show the right event for me? I don't know. Like, it seemed, I'm almost bet you that Old Dominion won't be there next year. I'll be bet you he won't. Seemed like he, you know, to pay the money and to go there and only have brief interactions with a few people and not really sell a whole lot. Like last year when I was there, I think he pretty much sold most of what he brought. So I don't know. It's just interesting to note that. I was starting to tell you another story and I already forgot. Oh, that's what it was. I keep trying to tell you about Saturday. So I was there for about an hour Saturday, doing my lap, kind of mentally figuring out if there's more boots that I want to hit, what I want to do, that sort of thing. Um, and I never experienced it before, but I actually had social anxiety. Like I didn't want to be there for a minute. I was like, what the hell am I thinking? Like I don't want to be here. Why am I freaking out? Like it wasn't like I was freaking out. I was ready to go. It was weird. I hadn't seen anybody then. You know, I just walked around quick, hadn't run across anybody that I knew yet. And I knew Billy and Courtney were there. I had texted him earlier, and you know he basically said they were there, but we hadn't crossed paths yet. So I was that's the main reason I didn't leave is I was like I just want to say hey to Billy at least before I leave, which was kind of funny, really, you know. But ended up going to get a coffee and just amping myself up a little bit, and then I was fine from there on out. But I've never experienced social anxiety before. It was kind of weird to actually mentally know that I was experiencing social anxiety. It was weird. But sometimes being around those big crowds like that ain't my thing, you know. But I'm really glad I hung in there. I met a ton more people Saturday, and Blade Show was a blast for the people, and the whole environment. It's always fun, but it's equally as much fun for me on that trip to do the whole, um, you know, family thing. So like Friday night, I got back. My dad said bike ain't been running six weeks. I need someone to ride the bike. Like twist my arm. So literally, me and my buddy that lives there, Sean. Me and him jumped on the bikes. He got a brand new Street Glide RT, ST. I'm sorry, ST Street Glide ST, and we took off. We went for a riding down there, middle of nowhere in Georgia, kind of away from Atlanta. Rode all the way to dark. You know, basically we had fun. It was a blast. Got a little wind therapy, and then so we did the same thing Saturday night when we got back. But I'm jumping all over the place. I apologize. Y'all knew it was gonna be this way, right? I mean, I ain't even got to talk for a week, 2 weeks now. So to get into the Zilla, let's stay on track with the Old Dominion. So God, this dude, oh my God. So the 4-inch Chupacabra from last year, I bought the 3.5-inch Chupacabra. The thumb studs on this one is what came on this one, and I just basically swapped the two. Like these are the ones I had made for this one and already kind of did that heat coloring on them, and you can see they match this one pretty good. So that's why I did that. Just and it felt these were like a little tall this way. You can see there's a little bit shorter that way. So this one was kind of snagging on the pocket with these pocket clips on it, or with not clip, sorry, thumb stud. So I swapped them over. I did a little tension, and of course, you know, I've been inside this knife already. But anyway, this is the Zilla. I wasn't 100% sure I was going to get this one. This is one of the ones that like I had to think about and kind of come back. And actually, it's kind of cool because Dan and I were talking, and you'll see Dan in the comments, I'm sure. We and him were kind of just hanging out and shooting the shit for a little while, walking around there. And I decided to go back and get this one, and Dan was with me when I got it. So it was kind of cool to experience it with Dan. But anyway, a couple reasons why this was unsure for me, and I just being completely honest, like it's super tall this way in the handle, which I like here. This part here took a minute to get used to. Once I got used to it, I like it. But it's also kind of on the thin side. This is going to be the theme of the day, right? Kind of on the thin side because of tie, because this is a 1/4-inch thick blade and he used thinner tie, which generally I don't like. I like the thicker tie on the sides. It's a hang up for me. I don't know why. It's portion size, right? You know, like it's just weird for me. But this primary grind right here is actually done really nice and really thin. It's not quite as thin as like the Rogovitz. Like this guy gets nasty thin. I don't know if I can even show you how thin that gets, but there you go. It gets super thin. So this does get super thin, but not as thin as that. But it's still got a super robust. It's got a super robust tip from the Tanto side. And the compound grinds generally like that when they don't blend together. I like when they kind of transition smoother. When they don't transition smoother, when they got this hump like this, like aka Strider style or whatever you want to call it, like they generally aren't my favorite type of blades. Like I like that transition to be a little smoother, but I'll give it a shot so far. Like in my uses, I'll dig it because like most of my slice and stuff, like I'm trying to get through something, I can use this thinner portion, which kind of works well. And the heavier duty kind of pry up motions and that sort of thing works fine with the tip. So I've not got a ton of use out of this one, but this one has been in the pocket. So if you follow me on Instagram and haven't seen a lot of pictures, that's mainly because I've carried one of these newer knives and I kind of wanted to wait and show you guys before I showed Instagram. But now the cat's out of the bag. All right, so that's all the new ones. Do we got anything else to talk about on those? I don't think so. Saturday night got back and Pop's doing better at this point. He's starting to, talk shit, be his normal self. And my buddy Sean that lives there, that has the ST, the Street Glide ST. I keep wanting to say Road Glide. He wanted to ride again, so we ended up jumping on the bikes and riding all night Saturday night. And we didn't get back to his house, I don't know, super late. Ended up doing a workout, like he's got a little home gym too, so we ended up both lifting. And shit, it was super late. So Sunday, I planned on going back Sunday morning, but when I got, because I was on my dad's bike, so when I got back to when I got back to my pop's house, both my brothers had just showed up like 10 minutes before that. So like I was like, wow, I didn't even expect them to be here. It was cool. One of my brother that lives in Atlanta on the north side brought his family, and we did a family get together kind of thing with him. But the main reason they showed up is my dad has some stairs coming out of his porch. We need to rebuild some of those stairs. So that's what we ended up doing Sunday. We just tore that shit off and kind of come up with a plan of putting new stairs on there. The way they were done weren't right. So we got to go back and rebuild the stairs. But anyway, we did family stuff Sunday, so I didn't make it back Sunday. But overall, awesome trip. We're over 20 minutes now, so I'm kind of wrapping it up at this point. But yeah, the flying thing was definitely easier to get back and forth, but also not nearly as fun as a riding thing. So I'm hoping next year I can start doing another, annual ride across the country. It's so much more fun to ride and experience more. It's like a whole different adventure. The flying thing sucks. I hate flying. But yeah, I got back Tuesday, and like literally my wife showed up with a coffee and a sub and was like, get ready for work. Here we go. So like I literally got there and went right back to work. So it's been nonstop since, and got to cut it short today because we got to go work now. This is Sunday. So I got to go work in a minute here. And then also working on the shipper container, what little time I do have left. So rambling as usual. I'm back. So hopefully you got something out of this. I'll go into more details on these. You got questions, hit me up. But yeah, that's what I got. I bought a bunch of stuff from other people too. I ended up buying like 7 knives there, and 4 of them were for other people. So that's fun. I love doing that. And so technically, I didn't get the DSK at the show, so I guess technically I got 6 knives at the show, 4 for other people. Hey, that's how it works. You always miss one. And actually, I was standing next to Stasa, and I bought Sean. Sean wanted that button lock BECP, and what's the name? Les George had some hand ground Damascus blade VCP frame locks, and I was like, man, that's sweet. It's like, that's here tomorrow. I'm gonna buy it. And it was Friday when I saw it. We'll come back Saturday, sold out. So the one that got away, right? Or did it? Tune in next week. See y'all.